सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तं वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. I welcome you all with my love and respects. Today's subject can neither be explained nor be expressed by words, because it is all about devotion. The topic itself, devotion, the path to liberation. Devotion can never be explained by words because it is not related to intellect. Anything related to intellect can be reproduced by words. There are reproducing mechanisms for particular experiences. Anything related to intellect can be reproduced by words. Anything related to emotion can be reproduced by music or a poem. But here, the subject is neither intellect nor emotion. It is something far beyond, far deeper than intellect or emotion. First thing, the experience of the devotion is such. Person who experienced devotion in his life will never even try to speak, because when you start speaking, you know you are abusing the experience. There are some experiences, not only you can't reproduce it by words, even if you try, your mind will tell, you will feel that you are abusing it. When you can't express the grandeur, greatness, try to use small words, naturally you are disrespecting it. There is a beautiful story by Paramahamsa, a liberated great soul of India, Paramahamsa Ramakrishna. He gives a beautiful story. 4 blind people were asked to write about elephant. All 4 of them are blind from birth. They go to see an elephant. Of course, they go to feel an elephant. They can't see. First guy comes out and writes, elephant means a big pillar, because he went and touched the legs of the elephant. He only felt the legs of the elephant. So he came out and wrote his commentary. Elephant means a big pillar. The other guy who went and touched the ears of the elephant, he comes and says, elephant means a big plate. Third guy who went and felt the tusk of the elephant, he comes and says elephant means a stick. Fourth guy who went and felt the tail of the elephant says elephant means a broomstick. Each guy comes up with his own comment, report, but not even a single comment. Not only they are not near the elephant, they are no way connected to elephant. Quantity wise or quality wise, both the way they are no way connected to elephant. When you try to describe devotion, understand, not that quantity wise we will not be able to explain, even the quality wise we can't explain. For example, if you want to describe ocean, you can say millions and millions of glasses of water. You expressed it in one dimension, only quantity you are not able to explain, quality you explained. But with the devotion, even that much can't be done. Not only in the quantity angle, even in the angle of quality, it cannot be expressed. It is such a deep experience. Maybe I'll try to express a few words from Shiva. When he speaks about devotion, there must be some reason. Maybe he is trying to give you the technique, he is trying to create a situation where you will fall in the experience of devotion. He is trying to inspire you to fall in devotion. I can say to race in devotion. Maybe by trying to reproduce the words of Shiva, I'll give you or create a space, atmosphere, energy where you can fall in the devotion, where you can feel connected to the devotion, where you can experience the devotion which Shiva explains. Shiva is the first master who declared devotion is a technique for enlightenment. Always the intellectuals who create philosophies around masters, who create religions, were against devotion. Because in devotion you cannot do any business. With intellect you can do a lot of business. Vested interests can be allowed. You can have vested interests and exploit others in the path of intellect. You can convince anybody to do what you want in the name of spiritual practice. With intellect, it is easy to exploit people. We always think emotional or people who are devoted can be exploited. No, it is not. Only people who are intellectual, logical can be exploited easily. In devotion, no business is possible. You are devoted and you experience, that's all, over. The business transaction is not possible at all in devotion. Only in intellectual line, only if you are an intellectual, you can be given some theory, some ideology, made to live, made to follow that person. That is why devotion doesn't have any scriptures. Devotion doesn't have any sutras. Devotion doesn't have any book, how to be a devotee. No. But strange, maybe modern day philosophers would have written it, I don't know. But at least no ancient master has written how to be a devotee. Narada has written a great book on Bhakti Sutras and the aphorisms of devotion. In that also he says very clearly, he is only explaining the quality expressed by a devotee. The experience itself can never be described. The devotion itself can never be induced. It's like you can create a space where simply devotion happens, but no logical way is available to create devotion. It's like if somebody asks, why do you like somebody? Why do you feel connected? Why do you love? You have no reason. You have no reason for love. If you have reason, it is not love, it is a bargain, business. If it is based on reason, it's a commitment, bargain, business, social setup, marriage. It cannot be love. Love is something where no commitment exists. There is no fear or greed. Of course, it is not that you are immoral in love. In love, a strange but strong morality rises in you. Only in love, you will be deeply centered and moral. In devotion, not only there are no rules, no regulation, even the other is not necessary. To be in love, you need two persons. To be devoted, you don't need the second person. Understand, that is the great difference. Meera, the great poet saint, she was devoted to Krishna, whole day talking about Krishna, singing about Krishna, dancing with Krishna, but historically the gap between these two are 5,000 years. Meera lived 5,000 years after Krishna lived. After Krishna left the planet Earth, Meera lived on the planet Earth. The gap is 5,000 years. But she goes on singing, dancing with Krishna, living with Krishna. The legend says she even finally absorbed into Krishna's murti or the statue. Meera was married to a king. That guy got jealous of Krishna because she was feeling so intensely the love for Krishna. That guy got jealous. He started asking, you are talking about Krishna, where is he? Maybe he wants to go and take revenge. He wants to kill. But only later on he realized Krishna is not in the body anymore. He left the body, he left the planet Earth 5,000 years ago. He can't imagine somebody can be devoted, can be so madly in love with a person who left the planet Earth 5,000 years ago. In the modern days, if I have to give example, Sharada Devi, wife of Sri Ramakrishna, a great saint. She is a great enlightened master by her own right, not just because she is a wife of Sri Ramakrishna. Just by her own right, she is a great enlightened master. According to me, she is more practical and deeper than Sri Ramakrishna himself. Even after Ramakrishna passed away, she used to carry the Ramakrishna's photo from early morning, how she used to serve when he was in the body. Same way she will serve. Offering the tooth powder, from that she will start. Every step, tooth powder, giving oil for his hair, and keeping hot water for his bath. Every step she will serve the photograph just like how he served when Ramakrishna was alive. It's amazing that somebody can serve with so much of passions and respect, even when the other person is not in the body. She will cook and feed him. She will sit and talk to him. Not only that, after keeping the food, she will sit and fan him. Fan the photograph for 20 minutes. To do this for 1 day or 2 days is easy. It's not a big thing. Doing it continuously is not a joke. And if you are doing it because you are getting paid, then it is easy. Then you will not be seeing Ramakrishna's face. You will be seeing the dollar bills face. You will be doing it only remembering the money. If you are doing it because you are getting paid, then it may be possible. Or if you are doing it just 1 or 2 days, then it may be possible. But here, she is neither getting paid nor 1 or 2 days. Day in and day out she is doing. People ask her, why do you do this? Why don't you spend your time in something else? She says, no, I know he is around me. He is here. He is living. He is alive very much. The night time she will put that photograph under the mosquito curtain, just like how he was taken care, served when he was alive. Same way she was serving. Any modern day psychologist will say she is stuck with the old memories. Any modern day psychologist would have diagnosed she needs treatment. But let me tell you one important thing. She lived like a god on the planet Earth. The energy which she radiated, the peace which she radiated, the love which she showered, you can never think. She was not only not a patient, she was healing so many patients.